Me and my stepbrother Bryce stepped outside onto our front porch. We had an overhang porch, so it was kind of nice, being that it was cold and rainy tonight. Me and my brother were all geared up with our black jackets, our hoods, a mask, and a BB gun. The BB gun was for protection, the mask was to conceal our faces, and the jacket, well, it's pretty obvious. It was raining, and it was cold. My brother had the idea to go on an adventure and scare the town, basically. Me, I was tagging along because I promised my brother this for money and pizza rolls. Alright, where are we going? I asked Bryce, and he told me to follow him. We left our front porch and head down the street. We then walked into the woods and crossed a few neighboring houses that overlooked the woods. Bryce and I found a lone building that was surrounded by the woods that we were in. We crouched down and got behind a big log. Our jackets were getting soaked from the rain. This was definitely a cold night. I reached for my gloves that were in my jacket pocket. Oh, great idea, Bryce says. He reached for them as well. Okay, so this house is perfect, Bryce says. We begin to analyze the home. We saw 2 cars in the driveway and knew someone had to be home. We waited though in the woods to be sure. Then saw from the front of the house a window. The blinds were open. There was a man. Couldn't tell how old, but we knew he was watching TV. Okay, let's go knock on his door, then run back here, Bryce said. Sounds good. We crept over to the front door and looked at one another. Bryce holds out his hand with a 5, 4, 3. He was counting down with his fingers. Since we had masks on, I couldn't really see if he was mouthing out the numbers. So we just decided to do the fingers with our hands. Then, once he finally reached 0, he made a fist, and we both pounded on the door, making it sound like we were intruders. Bryce looked through the window to see the man fall out of his chair. I can hear Bryce laughing under his mask, and over the rain. He waves over me to run back into the woods. We both head back for our spot behind the log we were once at before. We looked over at the house to see the man open the door and step outside. He looked confused and yelled out, "Anyone there?" Of course, me and Bryce weren't going to say anything. We just laughed about it. The man was getting soaked in the rain. The rain continued to pour down very hard. He kept calling out to me and Bryce, and we kept giggling. The man then goes back inside, and we wait for a minute before approaching the house again. "See, isn't this fun?" Bryce said. "I mean, it's a little fun, but that poor guy, he got soaked." Bryce said, "Okay." I see he went back to watch TV. We then head over to the front door again, and Bryce did the countdown again. 5, 4, 3. Once he made another fist, we then pounded the door even louder than the last time. The man braced his neck to look over at the window, like a whole freaking right. Bryce, staring at him, the man screams and falls out of his chair as he sees Bryce looking at him through the window. Bryce looks at me and says, "Oh shit, I think he saw me." What made my stomach drop wasn't what he said, but my whole body just lit up from a bright white light. I looked over and saw a car pulling into the driveway. The car stopped on a dime when it looked and noticed us. Bryce stands up next to me and says, "We gotta go, bro." Bryce and I ran for it, darted into the woods. I looked behind me to see 2 grown men get out of their cars and chase after us. Bryce and I ran to the woods, and we could hear the men right behind us. We kept running and hearing crunches of the leaves and sticks from under us. My heart was racing. The men were catching up. Their voices were getting louder and louder. I tell Bryce, "They're gaining on us, man." Bryce looks over and says, "Just keep running. Don't stop." I did exactly what he said. We ran as hard and as fast as we could. As we were running, the voices began to fade behind me. As we were blitzing away from them, we ran until we were outside the woods and found ourselves in another person's yard. We didn't know it was another person's yard at the time. We just knew we were out of the woods. We stopped and looked behind us. The 2 men that were chasing us were gone. My brother and I were so relieved. We looked at each other and laughed about the whole thing. "See? That wasn't so bad," Bryce says as he tries to catch his breath. "Okay. Alright, that's enough, right? Let's go back home. I'm soaked." I told him this and he agreed. While we were walking across the person's yard, I looked at him and said, "Hey, are we in someone's yard?" "Yeah, I think so." Looking back on it, we should have realized that we didn't look like friendly people. We had a mask, a hood, a glove, and a BB gun, which looked like a gun in a strapped holster on our legs. Me and Bryce jumped and got spooked because we hear a woman screaming from our right. We looked over and saw a woman on our porch pointing at us. Both started running again. We ran back into the woods and hid behind some trees. Bryce looked over me and said, "Oh shit." Well, technically, we got what we wanted. I mean, we scared that dude, we scared that woman. That's pretty good. I shook my head at him and said, "That's great, but let's not give any more women heart attacks." She probably thought we were gonna rob her or something. Bryce laughed at me and said, "Yeah, probably." We then headed back to our house, walking through the woods. Next thing I know, I hear a car. I didn't think much of it until when I looked behind me and saw that they were using a spotlight through the woods. I tell Bryce to duck. Bryce does so, and we wait for the car to drive past us. The car was driving slow, and the light shined right over us. My heart was racing. I heard the men under the rain talking, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. As their voices began to fade as they drove past us, still looking for us, Bryce saw the car that passed, and then, oh my god, out of nowhere, my brother does the stupidest thing he could have ever done in this moment. He stands up and yells at them, saying, "You guys can't search for shit!" I grabbed him and pulled him down, saying, "What is wrong with you? Those guys can find us and they'll probably kill us." Bryce laughs and says, "Because this is fun and they're not going to be able to find us." Oh my god, Bryce, come on. Are you stupid? Like, why would you even do that? Why would you even try to provoke them? After me and Bryce get in an argument, the car that had passed us had turned around and was heading back for us. A light glimmered right over me, and I noticed it, and the car stops. As the light's shining on us, I can see a man get out of the car. I looked at Bryce and said, "Dude, I think they spotted us." Bryce looked over and saw the man heading in our direction. "Oh shit! Oh shit is right, dude!" I told Bryce we needed to go, and he agreed. We started to run. The man wasn't far behind us. As we were running, Bryce then trips over a log and falls over. I stop and turn around to see him trying to get back up. But the man, he wasn't far behind him. Oh my god. I could only think of one thing. And I pull out the BB gun and I dry off my gun. As I'm drying it off, I look and see the man. He wasn't wearing much, just a tank top. I knew this was crazy, but I didn't know what else to do. I pointed the gun at him and I fired the gun about 10 times. The man screamed in pain. I believed it because the BBs I was using were metal and they sting like a bitch, especially if you're not wearing anything and just a tank top. Bryce then gets up and runs back to me. He had the opportunity to escape because the man was kind of stunned. We then run away as fast as we could. Bryce looks behind us and says, "I think the man's not following us anymore." And he was right. I turned around and the guy was running back into the opposite direction to where the car was. I guess the gun scared him away. I didn't care. We just had to make it back home. We didn't stop running, but we did make sure that we weren't being followed. We eventually made it back home, where we opened the front door and went inside. I quickly made sure to lock the door as I tried to catch my breath. Me and Bryce were dripping on the hardwood floor of the living room. It was nice to be out of the cold and the wet in the dry, warm house, and to be safe and not being chased anymore. I could smell something cooking. It was pizza rolls. I then looked over to see my sister watching YouTube. I believe she was watching PewDiePie play a horror game. I couldn't remember which one. All I know is I heard,
"I fucking knew it! The barrels!"
My sister, we'll call her Emily, looked over and saw me and my brother dripping. She asked us, "Is it raining outside?" I knew she was being a smartass, but I said yeah, and played along with it. I didn't want her to know what we were doing. Bryce didn't say anything. He just walked away and started to take off his gear. My sister then asked, "Don't tell me you guys are playing outside, like a BB gun war or something?" I was relieved to hear that, because now I can just agree with my sister, and she'll think we're playing and not going around scaring people being chased in the woods by a couple of strangers. Alright, I won't say anything then. I said this with a smile and looked at my sister. She rolled her eyes at me and then tells me to dry off so I don't get sick. I went ahead and did just that, and as I was walking away, she says, "Oh, and dinner should be done when you guys get down here." I thanked her and headed up the stairs to the attic, or AKA, the boys' room. I saw my older brother sitting on his bed watching anime, and Bryce was changing. I began to change as well, and Bryce asked me, "So, we good?" I smiled and said, "Yeah, we good." Then I slapped him on the fucking back of his head. "Ow! What the hell?" Bryce says he holds the back of his head. "Bruh, never do that again. Tonight was terrifying. Like, what were you thinking yelling at them, bruh?" I told him this with anger. Bryce then replies back saying, "Dude, nothing happened, and we're alright. That's what matters." "What if the man caught us?" I asked him. "But he didn't. Plus, I still can't believe you shot him," Bryce answered back. "I'm just glad I had my gun. But you don't think he'll come back, do you?" I was worried that we were followed, but I didn't see anyone as we were heading back home. My brother told me to relax, and then he thanked me for helping him out. "Look, man, I really appreciate what you did back there," he said. "Still can't believe it happened." My older brother then walks past us both and says, "Hey, I think dinner is done," as he heads down the stairs. Me and Bryce follow him as Bryce says, "Oh boy, I can't wait to eat." "You mean chips, right?" Bryce then asks me, What do you mean?" "Did you forget, dickhead? Your pizza bites are mine." As Bryce then whines saying, "Aw, I still get one though, right?" "Sure, for $20. Ah, I can't believe you said that." "No, bro, I'm serious. You owe me $20, remember?" "Oh, yeah. I got you." And we then head down the stairs together. Thankfully, the night ended with me getting $20, 2 plates of pizza bites. If there's anything to learn from this, it's that late night pranks are stupid and dangerous. Unless you're getting paid for it. Hopefully more than pizza bites though. No, but seriously, don't be stupid like me and my brother. We were just lucky tonight. Could have been a lot worse if we were not prepared. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening to this. Hope you guys enjoyed this 2-parter series. This is just a scary story. Well, the first half isn't really scary. It's just kind of like building up to like what's going on. And the second half is what actually happens. But I just hope you guys enjoyed it. And please be safe out there, okay? Back then, pranks were pretty common and they were stupid. Don't do them. Like, don't be stupid like me and my brother. Just stay home and be safe. Like, literally, it was a dark, rainy night. Yes, it was Halloween. We were trying to be scary, but it's not worth it. Because literally, it could have been a lot worse. I'm just so glad that we were safe. Anyways, have a good night. Wear your seatbelt. Eat your vegetables. And I'll see you in the next one.